what is the one horse that like you can point to and be like, yes, this one, me and this horse did the thing?
That's an easy answer. It's Riata. Buck pretty much told me when I was 16 years old, he said, "Hey, if you can find that horse a ride home from Florida to Louisiana, you can have him." Immediately, I should say, that's when everything changed. I turned in my baseball gear bag and I said, "Okay, I'm going to be devoted to roping calves and I'm going to figure out how to make this work because that's a once in a lifetime horse."
The Converse Cowboy Journey has given me an opportunity to sit down with some amazing performers from all walks of life, where it is my job to tease out their habits and routines so that you can apply and test in your own life. I've learned, I've grown personally, I've been enlightened, and I've been humbled. Above all, I've realized there is no destination in this life, no goal achieved, or money made that can replace the feeling of flow and the pursuit of doing what you truly love to do. With a growth mindset, I'm constantly asking questions and pursuing knowledge. The Converse Cowboy is a platform that allows me to do just that. I'm excited and eager to share their stories with you all. I'm Mike Roberts, and this is the Converse Cowboy.
This episode is brought to you by Kimes Ranch, Kerry Kelly Bits and Spurs, and Bluebonnet Feeds. Yeah, the Louis Vuitton Vaquero, man, I saw him this morning. He couldn't make it. He's helping at the bash, so.
Yeah, I need to meet that guy.
Oh, you've never met Jesse?
I never met him.
Oh, dude, he's great.
I really got introduced to him through your podcast, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably the first one you did, where he talked about where he was from and
How he got to
that's
America.
crazy. That's so awesome.
Yeah, he's fun and has a good time, but there's definitely a serious side to him. And
yeah, you probably get to see that more than others, huh?
Yeah.
Working horses and stuff. Yeah, that'd be awesome to.
Well, yeah, just overcoming the adversity of coming to America and the visas and the getting sent back in the Vita bars. If anybody that's listened to those episodes knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, those guys, there's the bash going on right now at Silverado, and so it's early mornings. I think we started at 4:30 this morning, and I'm okay with 4:30. Like a couple weeks ago when the Open was going, he was starting at 3:30, and so setting that alarm for 2:30 in the morning, there's just even though it's.
That's what's funny to me is rodeo guys think they work hard, and we do to an extent, but it's nothing like the cutters and the performance horse. You probably had to do a lot more notes for me than your normal guests because you pretty well know most of your normal guests.
I like to do the prep on all of it. But yeah, I definitely, much like the Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway last year, I found myself having to study more because I didn't know it, but those girls were very kind about it. And
it's awesome.
Yeah, I learned a lot during those 4 days I was out there in Scottsdale. So you said something about rodeo guys thinking they.
Yeah. I mean, it's just different than my uncle has trained cutting horses, most of his life and all of my life. And so I kind of seen firsthand how much work, I guess I could say you cutters put into it, right? Because you're
Well, I'm nowhere near what those guys do.
Yeah, but
I envy those that. Actually, I don't envy them. It doesn't make sense to me. You can't make that. My entrepreneur brain can't make that pencil. I was talking to Drew Knowles this morning with XIT Ranch about that. I'm like, man, these, like, I envy their work ethic and their dedication and their love for the game, because you have to have that, because the money made doesn't pencil for the hours spent in that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same with rodeo guys, too.
If we're talking just horse training, yes, they can win a little bit in the show pen, but the ones that do it, I think they are business minded and they're making their money on sales and other things outside of like the show pen. But you have to do the show pen thing to
get the clients,
to get the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's crazy.
Is it similar in rodeo though?
Yeah, rodeo is same thing. It's kind of what have you done for me lately type sport, and the more you put in, the more you get out, same kind of deal, but it's a little different, logistic wise. Obviously, like we'll go to a rodeo and we might be there for an hour, 2 hours, depends on how long you get there before you rope, and then you're getting in the truck, you're loading your horse, and you're driving 17 hours to the next one.
Or to the next one.
Seems like the cutting, you're kind of in one spot for at least, I don't know, you could probably correct me, but at least 4 days, maybe longer, big ones,
Yeah, a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the futurities shit's 30, 45 days.
And then that was another thing I was thinking of on the way over here was, we have so much we can dive into, but the rope horse futurity game is starting to, model a little bit of you guys is cuttings and futurities. So them guys, like the other day I was at a futurity and we ran 3, pretty much back to back to back, and then we had like a 3-hour break till our finals that night. And that was new for us, and the finals was clean slate, and that was new for us. But that's nothing new for the cutting world, right? I mean, every finals and semifinals is clean slate, and so it's new for us because I mean I had like a 24-point lead going into the finals that night, and my horse is more like he's kind of on the rodeo level for a 4-year-old, which is really uncommon. But I would have been better off if we could have run the finals right then after I run them 3. He sat around for a couple hours, and then again I learned because I didn't really go in the arena. I didn't do anything to work him before the finals. I said, man, he was the best horse here for 3 rounds. He should be the best horse tonight, and I got beat by 2 points. Clean slate finals, and it definitely taught me a lesson. And I knew one thing that these guys, Kenny, Jesse, Adon, all these top trainers that I kind of look up to in the cutting horse world, they wouldn't have just let their 4-year-olds sit around for 3 hours to the finals that night, no matter how good they did, for the first 3. So, but that's kind of what's different in the rodeo side, kind of futurity rope horse side than the cutting horse or the cow horse, performance horses.
Yeah. So you said that's new to the game, but it's consistent. I look at that and it's like everybody has this, everyone's on the same playing field, So I'm curious to know though, because I don't know that world. Was that a big deal?
Big deal.
Was it?
Huge deal. Everybody that I talked to, and I'm partners in a fraternity association called Gold Buckle Fraternities, and so we're on the other side of the production side of the fraternity game too. And so when we heard it was clean slate finals, we were all like, golly, we've never done that, this and that. And then of course Jeremy's like, every cutting fraternity finals is clean slate. I like the clean slate, and so
Jeremy Barwick.
yeah. So it kind of went from that, and then. Yeah, it was just very different, because you could have a horse for us on the rodeo mentality side come back what we call like 15th callback, which was barely making the finals, have a good run that night, win the whole deal. That's very uncommon in our world, So like I said, it was a very big learning curve for us, and kind of adds a little bit of excitement to it. I mean, obviously I wish it wasn't clean slate on my side, but I did learn from it.
I'm curious to know, what did you learn? What would you do different?
Well, for one, I would get my horse in there probably before a couple hours of the finals and maybe just fine tune him a little bit. And we can't do nothing huge. We can get in the box. We can kind of move them in there, get them in the arena, move them around, maybe lope them, just kind of dry work them is what we call it. I don't know, similar in the cutting, but dry work them in the roping. And I just didn't really think it was going to come down to that. But that's kind of the biggest thing I learned was, don't take it for granted that, and he still looked, the horse worked really good that night,
right,
for a 4-year-old, and what I've won on him has been crazy, but the other horse was 2 points better, and so you kind of question yourself, where could you have made those 2 points,
Yeah, and at the level that you're doing it at, it's like this much can mean
for sure
you're going home with a buckle or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Those guys in the cutting, when I first started, I had no idea what the verbiage was, and there's nuances to the sport. But to your point, yes, they will work a priority 2 sets before they show in the practice pen. And I remember like somebody's like, yeah, you're something about your priority, this and that. And I'm like, what the fuck is a priority? I had no idea. So yeah,
So what is that?
A priority is like it'd be like if you play baseball, it'd be like going and taking pregame, or
Like live
going to the batting
practice, yeah.
cages. Yeah, live batting practice on the field, and but yeah, they'll have practice pens set up
With practice cattle?
at shows.
Or
Yep.
flags or-
Well, they're just reruns. They bring them once they show in the show. They'll run them through the practice pen, and then
cattle?
Yep, and then they'll get on a truck and leave. But it's just a way to tune your horse up, and even you can go a step further. If you didn't feel good in practice pen, flag it. And I'm saying this as an amateur non-pro. I'm not a trainer by any means of it, but I'm around it enough and see it. And so it's funny, like different horses may require different things. I've seen a guy, I won't say the name of the horse, but it was a real hot horse, and he'll just work the flag at a walk. Didn't trot before, like that was his tune-up, just to like slow him down. And yeah, so each horse is different.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, every pregame is different. But before these cameras started rolling, we got to talking about the Teton Ridge sale. That was wild. Were you
Yeah.
there?
I was not there. We were at our Governor's Cup, so our playoff finale for the PRCA was that weekend, and so
Yes, and we're going to get into all of that. And
Yeah.
congratulations,
Thank you.
you'll be making it back to Las Vegas
Yep.
for the 16th consecutive time.
Yeah, it's wild.
That is
Chills just you saying
that's
that. Yeah, it's
impressive, dude.
crazy. But yeah, the Teton sale, and I'm a little backstory. So, I've been, like I said, my uncle is a cutting horse trainer, so I've always followed, the bloodlines and of course the roping horse deal is even more elevated now on the papers and their bloodlines as well. But a couple years ago, I bought a horse that come from Teton that they bought out of the yearling futurity sale. It was by Smooth Talking Style out of Mighty Fine Sioux. And, that was my first big purchase. And then, so I rode him at our big futurity, 4-year-old futurity, 2 years ago. And so I'd kind of been following through Teton's, horses and, Todd Bergen had him as a 2-year-old. And I bought him his 3-year-old year. And then it didn't take long to transition him to the roping horse, game. And so we won probably 40,000 on him his 4-year-old year. And then I sold him to a kid in Mississippi, and he loves him. And so it's been kind of one of those deals. But just knowing what kind of horses Teton, had, and of course Talker. I'm a huge fan of Talker. I bred to him in his early years when Gail still owned him, and my 4-year-old this year is actually out of a mare that we own and that we've won, over 300,000 on between me and my wife. My wife's rode her at 2 NFR breakaways. And
Oh, no
so
kidding.
we, this 4-year-old that I was talking about this year is by Smooth Talking Style out of her. And so we raised her, bred her, trained her, and he's won, close to 180,000 so far his 4-year-old year. And we've got a couple more futurities to finish the year out. So, he's just been awesome. But it's just different when you raise one, and you raise it and then you train it and then you see it win. It's a whole different feeling. But all that stemmed from Smooth Talking Style. And my uncle told me about him when, Lloyd was showing him, and he said his horse was special. And so I bred to him. And after our big show in March, my wife was asking, well, what do you want to breed, Pam to? And I said, well, we just won 88,000 on the Smooth Talking Style out of Pam. Let's breed Talker. And she double ovulated, so hopefully we have 2 of them coming.
Right on, dude.
So no, it's exciting.
That is exciting, and it's really exciting where he ended up. Again, Drew Knowles and Taylor Sheridan bought him, and he'll stand there at the 6s. They have I just did a tour through the new stud barn. Have you seen that?
No.
In Silverado?
Yeah.
It's insane, dude. It's a very cool place, like nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Drew has been awesome to talk to. I haven't yet met him, but I've talked to him quite a bit on social media. I've rode a lot of Kit Kats, and he is very appreciative of the rope horse industry. And I was so excited to hear that Talker is going to him and Taylor. And I think he's a very underrated stallion in the rope horse world, but I don't think anymore. With Drew promoting him and stuff like that. I think his offspring in the rope horse industry is going to skyrocket, and I'm excited to be riding a few of them.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating, man. Like, we'll take this as an example, but like the right horses getting in the right hands, how their career can either skyrocket or it can plummet if it gets in the wrong hands. I think about that with trainers too, or with you guys. Like, a horse may get blown up if it gets in the wrong hands. And how many great horses have we never heard about?
That's wild to think about. How many great horses could there have been?
That could have
if they
changed the industry.
Right hands, the right direction. Yeah, that's very interesting because, I was thinking about that on the way over here. I'm fairly young as far as horse trainer wise. I rodeoed a lot in my early years and kind of viewed these horses as tools almost, and they still are to an extent. But now that I'm raising them and training them, it just goes to show you like what sets apart the special ones from the great ones to the good ones. So it's very eye opening and exciting, all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm curious to know there are certain horses that do get in the right hands of the right people at the right time. Can you think of one of those for you that would have enabled you? Because horsepower is king. When you're doing it at the level you guys are doing it at, you have to be mounted. So what is the one horse that like you can point to and be like, yes, this one, me and this horse did the thing?
Yeah, no, I think that's an easy answer. It's Riata, the horse that my brother trained for his boss, Buck Daniel down there in Florida. And then Buck pretty much told me when I was 16 years old, he said, hey, if you can find that horse a ride home from Florida to Louisiana, you can have him. And immediately, I should say, that's when everything changed. I turned in my baseball gear bag and I said, okay, I'm going to be devoted to roping calves and I'm going to figure out how to make this work because that's a once in a lifetime horse. And he took me to 2 high school finals. He took me to a college finals. He took me to 6 NFRs and a gold buckle. So
I got chills, man.
Yeah, I think that's to talk about horses and we throw in top 5 horses of all time all the time, but longevity wise, I mean, I was literally riding him at youth rodeos in the breakaway open, the tie down, the mugging, and then it transitioned me to high school where I won 2 state titles my junior and senior year, and then 2 national high school appearances where I won I think 4th and 5th, and then into the college ranks to where I make the college finals, and then I won rookie of the year that year, and then 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, them years for qualifications, and then of course I won the world title in 13, and it was all on that horse.
Dude, that is insane. I had no idea. Has there ever been, I'm curious to know, how old was he when you got him?
So when I got him, he was 6 years old. My brother rode him his 4-year-old year. He actually this was long before the rope horse futurities ever took off, but he won the Jackson PRCA horse show. And then the very next day in Jackson, Mississippi, went to Slack at the pro rodeo and won the pro rodeo. And so that's kind of when he tells people that he knew this horse was special, the transition from the horse show world to the rodeo world the next day. And then so he kind of rodeoed on him a little bit that year, and he didn't have much luck as far as didn't have anybody to kind of guide him to where he needed to go, when he needed to go there, because it's a lot of logistics for rodeoing. You don't just get to show up when you want and rope. You gotta get upright. You gotta make trades. If you don't get upright, it's just a lot of stuff. And so he came home that summer, and then I got him probably the end of his 5-year-old year. I would say the fall of his 5-year-old year. And what's crazy is when I got him, I was just a very beginner level roper. I mean, I weighed 120 pounds. I mean, I still only weigh 150, but I was very green, but he was too in a sense. So what's crazy is, and it's something that I tell all the parents and the kids that come to my clinics is the number one rule for me is don't buy a young horse because you have a young roper. That does not work. It just happened to work with me and Riata, and it's hard to explain, but he was just special.
Yeah. Has there ever been another horse that has done that? Go from the youth to the high school to college and then competing at the highest level?
I honestly think I've seen something this year. Tom Kraus, he'll be his first NFR this year. What's crazy is he's 24 years old. He's riding a horse that's 24 years old. I believe it was the same situation, but as far as this will be 1 NFR for him, which is awesome. He rode him in the junior ranks of high school to now an NFR. Like I said, the longevity wise, I've rode Riata for 6 years professionally, counting the 6 years before that. So I would say probably not as far as many times as I rode him at the finals. And then what's crazy is before I ever made the finals, Tough Cooper rode him for 2 years at the NFR before that. So he's had a lot of runs in the Thomas and Mack.
That's cool. How is he bred?
Man, it's a lot of old school. And honestly, the mare and the stallion was turned out together because the mare hadn't taken in 2 years and the stallion semen was supposed to be bad. And so next thing you know, his little bald-faced horse pops up. And that's what gets Buck back into the rope horse business. He had no business being in it. He said he was done with the roping in the horse industry. That horse popped up, and he called my uncle. That's a cutting horse trainer. Said, hey, I got this little 2-year-old colt. I was wondering if you're still riding any rope horses. And he said, I've been focusing on my cutters. He said, but I have my nephew here, and he's been having outside horses and piddling around. So he drove him from Okeechobee, Florida to Sulphur, Louisiana. Met my brother face to face and shook his hand, left him that horse, and lo and behold, it was him.
Divine intervention, dude.
Crazy, man.
Is he still around today?
He passed away in March.
Oh, bro.
26 years old. Yeah, went under an oak tree in Okeechobee where he was raised, and just everything was fine. Just laid down and passed away, which is probably the best thing for him. I mean, he was 26, but man, he had the miles of a 50-year-old. I'm telling you.
Oh, I bet.
The miles and the struggles he went through. He was a cribber, so he colicked. We had surgery before the NFR in 2012. Then he got hurt later that year. You could write a book about that horse, man. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I bet. How was it though, going from that horse, something that special, to the next one? And then it's like when you break up with a girlfriend and you play this comparison.
Yeah,
nothing ever compares to that.
That was one thing I had to tell myself, was like, you're never going to find another Riata. You're never going to find another Riata. And what's crazy is I found one so similar.
Really?
To transition to my next one. His name was Bam Bam. I bought him from Mike Johnson, who had made the National Finals 23 times in the calf roping. And I bought him in 2016, and honestly, like, crazy how similar they were. And then he got hurt after the NFR in 2019. I had to put him down in 2020. And so then I bought his full sister. You'll like this. I bought his full sister. So his name was Bam Bam. His full sister's Pam Pam. So that's the mare.
That's the one you bred Talker to?
Yep. And so I've been able to keep her around and breed her since her performance horse career is pretty well over. She's 23 now, so.
What is she? How is she bred?
She's a dual pep, yeah.
Okay.
A grandson of dual pep. They actually come from McGrath, Alberta, a ranch up there, had both of them. And Mike bought them from a guy around Oklahoma who went and picked them up, and for whatever reason, they just, they took to the roping just as easy as anything. And it's crazy how much she has put into this baby. You hear all the time, like, for me, like, I'm all into, like, the stallions this and stallions that, and you hear people, very knowledgeable people, say, man, the stallions are great, but it's the mares that they're out of is what's really important. And for me to be able to witness that and feel that, and it's so crazy how much similar her offspring are compared to her. It's kind of like, it's freaky how similar they are, so it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. And I did a stallion project with the NCHA years ago, and I want to do the same thing, but for the mare power. I think that would be, because it is so
the mare
important.
power for me is what's awesome, because I've been very fortunate, kind of jumping around, but I've been able to ride a couple out of Stylish Playlina.
Oh, right.
And one was a Metallic Rebel mare that I rode and trained. I think Spud had as maybe a 3-year-old, and she was just a freak, man. Gail Holmes owns her, and I was able to get a baby out of her for riding her by Baboon Horizon. So I'm super excited about that weanling filly. And then I rode a dual pep out of Stylish Playlina stallion, and I got qualified for the World Show that also Gail owns. And so it was pretty awesome for me to ride, them horses out of her, knowing that, at the time, I don't know now, Showbiz Kitty probably is, or Kitnish will be, but probably one of the producingest mares of all time, right? With Hottish and Smooth Talking Style and all the other ones out of her. But it was just so crazy that any Stylish Playlina horse I got on, they were so easy for me to train compared to other ones. I don't know if it was just coincidence, but I don't think it was.
Yeah, and that's interesting. We were talking about that this morning. Showbiz Kitty, I don't know if she has any money earned, and she was kind of a late bloomer with, like, producing, but, like, she doesn't miss much.
Man,
she does not miss much.
It's gonna be crazy how much they're gonna win on her offspring.
Yeah. Did any rope horse guys that you know of end up with any of those horses from the Teton sale? Or any of them going down the rodeo road?
Not that I've heard of. We were in on the Talker out of Soldier Jewel forever, but I ended up not getting him bought. But it was, obviously everybody knows it was expensive, and I haven't heard if anybody has got any that they're gonna take to the rope and pin right now. But it just seems like it's just a matter of time before they end up just kind of cycling down into the roping pin. So
Yeah.
not off the bat, but I'm sure there will be.
Yeah, it was cool to see. I wanted to go to, it was like, it was history. And
Right.
there were cutters there, of course, cow horse guys. I saw some rope horse guys, doom ropers, calf ropers. And so barrel horse folks, like it was just a wide range.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be awesome. And, with Western Bloodstock putting the sale on, they're going to do a classy grade A job. And so just to see the social media aspect of it was like, man, I really wish I could have been there. 2,500 people, they said.
Was it?
That's what they said. 2,500 people there.
I believe it. Like there was standing room only. Some people couldn't even get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. It was wild, man. Let's go back to Sioux Falls, man. There was a quote I heard you say in another interview. You say, and I love this quote. It says, adversity causes some men to break and others to break records. And that's so true. And it's just a perspective shift on how you want to view it. So I would think you're going into that, and please correct me if any of this is wrong, but you're going into that without, like, you don't have enough money to get to Vegas at that time. Like 16th. You're 16th, not going to the NFR, knowing you have to do the thing at that event. What's your mindset going into that?
Yeah, I mean, I knew, so Sioux Falls for us as the Governor's Cup, it's, I think how, goal setters, when you beginning of the year, you write down, you want to win the world, you want to make the national finals. And I think right after that, you have to be at Sioux Falls because it's such an important factor for your regular season. It's our playoff finale.
And do you have to qualify to get there?
So you have to be in the top 8 in the tour points standings, or you have to finish top 4 at our first playoff finale in Puyallup, Washington, the first week of September. So obviously I didn't do any good at Puyallup to make it to Sioux Falls, so I had to be in the top 8 in the points. And so the tour rodeos are rodeos that add X amount throughout the year. It's obviously the bigger, better rodeos of the season. And so you have to be in the top 8 of that. So I knew all year, you got to do good at the tour rodeos because you have to be at Sioux Falls. And so I got into Sioux Falls in the number 7 spot. And obviously once you get there, everybody's like, oh, you got Sioux Falls, man, you're going to make the finals. Well, you still got to do good. They're not going to let you have an NFR back number just because you made Sioux Falls, right? And so I knew the other 2 guys that I was going against, I knew they didn't make Sioux Falls. And so I knew my road was maybe a little easier, but at the same time, you still had to do your job and win money. And so I was going in 16th. I hadn't been outside the top 15, I don't think all summer, maybe at the beginning of the summer when we started.
How far out were you?
$450.
No way.
Yeah, so it was just and the Sioux Falls money, any kind of check would have done that. But, them other guys had some other rodeos, obviously. And so I knew that once I got to Sioux Falls, if I could make our, we call it our short round, which is the 8-man round from 12. So you had to be in the top 8 in the average after 2 head, that you were guaranteed $4,000 for that and had a good chance of making it from there. But really, you had a chance to win it, which paid $32,000, and that could just completely shift your momentum in the world standings race and stuff like that. So, yeah, I wasn't nervous, to answer your question. The thought of me not making it for the first time in 15 years was very stressful.
I bet. Did you have a low-key confidence? Some of those games you go into?
Well, yeah, so the cool thing
just
is,
know it's going to go right?
And in 2015, it actually was in Omaha, Nebraska, but I hadn't been in the top 15 all year. And the very last rodeo of the year in 2015, I had to win first. Not place. I had to win first to make the national finals, and I won first. So I kept falling back on that. You've been at this spot before with tougher circumstances and you made it through. So kind of just be confident in the work you've put in all summer, all year to get you to where you need to be. And it worked out to sneak in there.
That's exciting. Which horse will you bring? What do you?
So what was crazy is I rode my bay horse. His name's Stylish Bugsy. He goes back to Doc Stylish Oak, but he was the 2023 AQHA Horse of the Year in the PRCA in the tie down. And so suffered an injury in the second go round of 2023's NFR. So I had him off, obviously, the rest of the NFR in 2023 and mostly all of 2024. And I started him back at Houston this year, and we were able to win 15,000 at Houston, and then I won 10,000 in Austin on him. So we kind of got going at the right time. And then I ended up riding him at Sioux Falls, and we got her done. So that's the one I plan on riding. You know, if it started next week, he would be the one I back in on.
How old is he?
He's 13 this year, and so I've had him since 2022. Was when I bought him, the end of 2022. So I rode him as 2022 NFR, but I tell people it wasn't really fair. I just bought him 2 weeks before that, and he didn't have no confidence in me. I didn't have no confidence in him. And then we went to the biggest rodeo in the world for 10 nights in a row, and had a lot of people saying that was a dumb purchase. But looking back on it now, it was pretty well worth it.
Oh, that's funny. I saw that you were in a Sports Illustrated article, and that you had a jet lined up.
Yeah, so
to take you to where San Bernardino.
So
after the Governor's Cup, right?
Yeah, so we roped Sunday at 12 o'clock, and my wife the night before was like, "Hey, if you don't make the Final Four round, you need to figure out how to get to San Bernardino." And I'm like, "I don't think I can get to San Bernardino." She's like, "Well, the rodeo ain't till 6 o'clock that night. That's 8 o'clock Texas time." She said, "You need to call." And so I called a couple different charter companies, and I said, "Hey, I need to know how much for a crew to be there on standby in case I need to go to San Bernardino, and then how much is the flight to San Bernardino?" And she said, "Okay." So she run some figures. She said $2,200 for the crew to be standing there. If you don't need them, that's it. You just pay them $2,200. They can go home. If you do need them, it'll be $30,000. I'm like, shit. That's what a round pays out there is $30,000. So I'm like, yeah, we need it. And so I had them on standby, and then I didn't make the Final Four. I ended up 6th out of the 8 guys that roped, and so I didn't make the Final Four. So I knew I had to go to San Bernardino, because the guy that was behind me was up at San Bernardino that night, and he was only $1,700 behind me, and that's like a 5th place or better check. He would have passed me. So I'm like, well, I gotta go. I gotta be there. I gotta rope. Play defense, if anything. And so I'm walking in there to rope in the 8-man, and I see a bulldogger coming out, and he's got his head on the ground. And I knew that he was in a similar situation as me, and he was up at San Bernardino. So I went up to him and said, "Hey, Gavin," I said,
yeah, what was his name?
Gavin Swallow.
Gavin Swallow.
So he was 17th in the world, actually. He didn't make the Final Four round. He had actually, dude, what's crazy is he had actually called and turned out of the rodeo already. But since it was before the turnout deadline, you could get back in. And so I went up to him and said, "Hey, I got a plane." I said, "If I don't make the Final Four, I'm chartering to San Bernardino." And he looked at me, and he just gets bright-eyed. He said, "I'm in." I said, "Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not cheap." He said, "I don't give a damn what it costs." He said, "I'm making the NFR." I said, "Perfect." He said, "But I already turned out." I said, "No, you got time. Call back up there." So we called back up there, got put back in the rodeo. Of course, I didn't make the Final Four, so we're headed to the airport. And I'm pretty sure, dude, I could have told him that the flight was going to cost $60,000, and he wouldn't have balked at it. And I'm like, I said, "It's going to be $15,000 a man, to get up there." He said, "I don't care." He said, "I'm $950 short of the NFR." And the guy that was in 15th, he had already ran out of rodeos. So we have a 3.5-hour flight, dude. And I'm telling you, we leave, and I'm like, these pilots, they don't know anything about rodeo. They just think they're bringing 2 guys to San Bernardino, drop them off, and that's done. And so we get over there to the airport in Sioux Falls, and my wife's kind of a pushier type person than I am, and I said, "Hey, come in there with us and make sure they understand we got to get going." And so we go in there, and they're just kind of lollygagging around. I'm looking at my watch, and it's a 6 o'clock perf over there, a 3.5-hour flight. I'm like, and it's 30 minutes from the airport at San Bernardino to the arena. And I said, "Hey," I said, "we kind of got to get do And my wife's like, "Yeah, y'all got fuel?" She's like, "Well, they're getting fuel now." He's like, "Okay, well, we got to get going." Yeah, I mean, got to. So we get in the plane, and we take off, and it's a 3.5-hour flight. And me and Gavin, we're just in the back, and it's a Citation, so it's a nice plane. And we're boogieing pretty good. And I'm like, so stressed about getting to the rodeo and being able to compete. from not getting turned out, and then stress about being 16th or 15th in the world at the time, needing to win, hold off Quaid, and then Gavin's next to me, and he's needing to win $950. So, I mean, we did not sleep. We didn't even try to sleep on the plate. I mean, we're so stressed. There was no sleeping to be had. So, we're kind of talking and passing the time and looking at our phones, looking at the time. And we start getting close to San Bernardino, and I'm like, man, we should be landing this thing. I don't know what's taking so long. And so I kind of get up there close to the deal, and we're just flying around. Like, it's like the pilots don't know where the airport is. I'm like, and so I'm like, hey guys, I'm like, how long until we get on the ground? He's like, oh, probably 8-10 minutes. So I'm like, at this time it's 5:30. I'm like, man, this is not going to be nice. And so we had a guy waiting on us to pick us up. And I'm telling you, dude, we hit the ground. We opened that door. We hauled ass to the truck, and he hauled ass. And then the guys that were over there, they had told the rodeo committee about us coming from Sioux Falls. We have a police escort into this arena from San Bernardino. The sheriff's was so cool, so grateful. Pulled us in there, pulled us into the back of the arena. We're at the roping boxes. They're singing the national anthem. There's 5 bareback riders and cap roping second, and I'm first roper. So, I mean, I get there, and I have no time to even think about, what horse
Yeah, that was my next question. What horse do you
I
ride?
jumped on Ty Harris's horse, horse I'd never rode before, and that's something that's scary to think about. You're riding a horse that you've never swung a leg over to make the NFR, essentially. And they had tied my calf in 10 in an earlier perf. I'd got a video of him, and I was like, all right, perfect. And 9-something was winning good money.
Yeah, what did you need to be?
Yeah, so any kind of 9-second run, and I'd have solidified my spot, okay? And so I back in there, and I'm first roper. And
No shit.
yeah, Quaid, the guy that's ends up 16th, he's second roper. He's right behind me. And so I back in there, and I nod and get me a good start. 3 swings, and the cap is right there. And I drop it down on him, and when I do, I rope him, but I figure out the back leg immediately. And when that happens, I just know I'm doomed. I mean, because you can't pull the rope off the back leg and still tie 1 and 9. That's unheard of. So I pulled the rope off, and it's stuck on the back leg. I pulled that rope off, and so I'm coiling up my rope, and I'm headed back to behind the arena. And I mean, he's got to ride. I mean, we rub shoulders riding by each other because he's got to ride into the arena. And he knows pretty much that the ball's in his court now. And if he's any kind of 9, he's going to make the NFR. And so he ropes. And of course, I'm riding Ty Harris's horse, but Ty Harris is 2 away. So I had to get off, take my rope off, set the stirrups, let him get on. So as all this is going down, he's roping, Quaid's roping. He goes 9-1. I look back at Ty, and Ty's a very stats kind of guy, numbers kind of guy. And I said, I just didn't make the NFR, did I? And when I looked at him and told him that, he's looking like you're looking towards me, but the arena's behind me. And he said, no, you just made the NFR. Calf got up. Calf kicked free before the 6 seconds. Cost him, I tell you how close it was. If the calf would have stayed down, he would have beat me by $4 to make the NFR. And, I mean, it's just crazy to think about. You go all year.
And it can come to that.
$4 to separate you. Honestly, like, the character of that guy, like, he shook my hand, about 20 minutes after that, looked me in the eye, congratulated me. And then he sent me a text later that night, like, saying, dude, you're pretty much the GOAT of the generation before me. He said, I've always looked up to you. I've learned so much from you. He said, congratulations on 16 in a row. You're a dog. And I thought that was so cool of Quaid to say that, because he didn't have to say anything. I understood, and I wouldn't have held no hard feelings. But for him to be able to say that, that night, and then was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it was wild, dude. I'm telling you, from the moment I got done on Sioux Falls that day and I tell you, like, I'm normally not like, I kind of try to stay pretty even keel. And I feel like that's what I patterned my roping after, was not letting the highs get too high or the lows too low, But dude, I'm telling you, from when I roped Saturday night, knowing that I made the 8-man, knowing that I had 4,000 secure, and then knowing that if I didn't make the 4-man, I was going to have to rent a $30,000 plane, I slept like shit that night. And I slept so bad, maybe 3 hours total. Not because I was scared I wasn't going to make the NFR. Like I told my wife, I was scared I was about to have to dish over $30,000 to go potentially make the NFR. And so, I slept so bad that night before, and then when it all unveiled Sunday night, 24 hours later, I was so excited
Mm-hmm.
that I couldn't sleep either because
Yeah,
of what had
wild.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I caught a midnight flight out of LAX to Houston, and so I could get home. And I just remember I didn't sleep much at all on the flight, and I got home, and I was still off that emotional high, from accomplishing 16 in a row, that it was just hard to get any rest. But I'm starting to get caught back up now.
Good for you, dude. Winners win, man.
Yeah, dude,
Winners win.
I love that. I love that saying. I've said it a lot. I don't know. I think, Mike, if you'd have told me when I was 12 years old that where I grew up in a little town in Southwest Louisiana that I would make the NFR once, I'd have probably told you you're crazy as hell. But to make it 16 in a row, there, only God's got his hand in that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's impressive, man. I want to get into your game plan for the NFR and what your mindset's going to be, having the experience you have there in the Thomas and Mack. But before we do, what about my guy Gavin? What did he do out there?
Dude, 1 second in the rodeo made the NFR.
Wow.
It gives me chills just saying it. I mean, it was just, and the whole flight over there, he's like, he's a coon ass too. Like when you hear,
I was gonna say if his last name is Swallow, he's got to be from Louisiana. Right?
Bunkie, Louisiana.
Bunkie, okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
so his family farms rice and sugar
Mhm.
cane and all that, and he rodeos, and he's had some bad injury trouble too. He tore his shoulder up a couple years ago, his knee, but anyway, so the whole flight over there, he's like, dude, this is about to be a badass story. And I'm like, I hope you're right, man. He's like, no, it is. And so, sure enough, dude, when it all got said and done, and then he got on our flight out of LAX, and we're driving to the airport. He had him some Michelob in the backseat, and he was celebrating. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna tell my kids this story, dude, because it is so awesome. And so now, at the Thomas and Mack every night for the grand entry, you go by states, and we're all Louisiana, so me and Gavin will be riding the grand entry every night together, and it's gonna be special. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
dude, that's badass. Were you dropping any like words of wisdom on that flight over? I mean, 3.5 hours.
Yeah, we talked about a lot, and that's one thing. Like he was always quite a bit younger than me, so I knew him, but I didn't really know him very good.
Mm-hmm.
But for them 3.5 hours, we got close. We started talking about stuff, and I was telling him about, he would ask me about, how if I've ever been on the bubble before, and I would share the 2015 and 2013 when I was on the outside looking in for a long time, and he just had this kind of sort of calm confidence that like once he got his feet on the ground in San Bernardino, it was like, I'm gonna make the finals, And so being $950 back for him was he could have safetied up and tried to be probably 4.5 or 4.6 and 1/8 and made it. This dude won second. He was 3.9, dude. 3.8 or 3.9, 1 second in the rodeo. So he didn't just make it. He put his foot down and he said, man, I'm gonna do this damn thing. And so I'd imagine he's gonna have quite a bit of confidence going into the Thomas and Mack.
Man, I'm thinking about this. Let's go back to Sioux Falls. You're walking past this kid, like just the fact that y'all happen to be crossing paths.
Well, I had seen that, so I look at stuff like that. I looked at the trade list. I knew he was up at San Bernardino that night with me, and I knew that he had made the 8-man. And in the rodeo world, we're all tight enough to know who's got to do what needs to happen, because we're all fans, but we're all friends at the same time. So I knew Gavin needed to make the Final Four to make the NFR, and he was in a similar situation I was. And so yeah, when he come, and I didn't want to tell him anything before he went because I wanted him to be thinking about that steer at Super Bowls, right?
Right.
And so because I knew the stress that I had from the night before, knowing that if I didn't do good, I was getting on a plane. So when he come walking out, he just had his head down. I'll never forget it. He had his head down, and I said, "Hey, Gavin," I said, "I got us a plane," and he's like, "Sign me the hell up." And so that was pretty cool, like you said, to see him coming out, and like he told me on the plane, he's like, "I knew my season was over." He's like, "I knew I was short again." He said, "I had gotten so close this year." He said, "But I knew my season was over." He said, "And then you walked up," and he said, "Man, it was like, holy shit, I got a chance to do this." And he went and did it, man.
Yeah.
Kudos to him.
Yeah. And this is his first time to be there.
First time in the NFR.
Wow, man. That's cool. I'm gonna be out there for a few days. I
Oh,
want to hope
yeah.
to cross paths with that guy.
Yeah, I'll get you lined up with him.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
yeah.
Since the early 80s, Bluebonnet has built a reputation for safe, reliable feeds. Today, they've evolved into a company that puts the horse at the center of everything they do. Every formula for every species is backed by science, guided by in-house PhD nutritionists, and supported by a world-class team. With the horse-first philosophy, Bluebonnet helps make advanced nutrition effortless.
Man, let's get into a little bit of mindset. To do what you've done, dude, for as long as you've done it. Like, yeah, it's hard enough to get there, but to do what you've done consistently, it's impressive. What do you attribute the consistency of staying on top to?
The main thing I think is year after year, I never was like, okay, I made it 3 years in a row. Let's make it 4. Let's make it 5. Let's make it 6. I've always been like caught up in the moment of the season to where I'm like, I want a chance to go buckle. And like, I've always just kind of told myself, this NFRs prior, yeah, like, it's good to think about it and gives you confidence that you've been there before to make it again, but they're not gonna hand you a back number because you made the last, 15 in a row. So the mindset for me always has been one rodeo at a time, but I'm also trying to get to that number where I think is enough to make the NFR. And so year after year, that number has went up. But at the same time, it's in a sense been easier to get to that number because of all the rodeos and how much money has been paid out here lately. But I think just the mental, kind of like the capacity of me, like being able to just stay in my own lane and not try to change who I am as a roper, as a person.
So if we zoom out 30,000 feet, the macro goal is world title, NFR. But if we zoom in, what are like the little day-to-day things, the weekly, monthly goals that you're striving for to achieve the big one?
Yeah, so like obviously now, I'm kind of the elder statesman of the group. I'm 36 years old, just turned 36, so I've been 35 all year, but all summer. But like them kids are getting younger, as so to say. But so for me, I've just tried to my practices every day, and I rope every day. I mean, every day. I mean, just like Adon rides cutting horses every day, or Jesse rides cut every day. It's part of my body, and that's how I feel it needs to be to be at this level.
How many are you running every day?
Man, it just depends. So obviously, with all our young horses, I'm swinging and throwing the rope, whether it's at the track and the sled dummy, or tracking around the arena on the young horses, pattern on them. I mean, I'm throwing my rope anywhere from 100 to 500 times a day. Throwing my rope, and 75 of it could be behind the sled on the dummy. But, and that's something that I've had to transition to, was I love training horses, and I love the futurities, and I made a lot of money doing it. But right now, I'm Shane Hanchey, the professional cowboy. I have to draw a line, especially now in this fall, to have myself ready, because riding young horses gets you in a lot of bad habits for rodeoing, and you probably don't think about that, or your audience really, but when you're riding a young horse and you're trying to pattern them, there's a lot of things that you do to help them young horses catch on that you don't need to do, that you can't do to be 7-2, right? To win a go round at the Thomas Mack. So I've tried this fall will be the first fall that I've ever like really, my wife's going to handle all the 2s and 3-year-olds as far as on the sled and tracking around and doing and patterning them then. And then I'm going to be more responsible for my 5 and 6-year-olds and my actual rodeo horses. And so that's going to turn into more like live action. So to answer your question, I kind of broadened it a little bit, but I'm going to run anywhere from 5 to 10 of actual tie down cattle like a day, like practice reps, go fast, make no mistakes kind of deal. And then the other ones will be kind of tuning up the futurity horses, the 5s and 6-year-olds, getting them ready.
Yeah. Will you go to any rodeos again, I'm ignorant in the
no.
rodeo space, but do you go to any rodeos between now and the NFR?
So we'll go to a bunch of big jackpots. Like I host my big jackpot in a couple weeks. And then there's like
Where is that at?
it's in Giddings, Texas,
Okay.
down there between Houston and Austin. And I've done it since I was in high school.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
so it's the big.
Like you've hosted it. You
Yeah,
put it on since you're in
yeah.
high school. That's cool.
So it's the biggest roping of the year. I think all the guys will tell you that my roping's probably the best roping of the year. I hope to. I mean, I strive for that every year. So we'll put that on, and I'll compete in that. So that's kind of a crazy deal in itself, producing one and competing. And then there'll be a couple other jackpots that are pretty big. And then we'll go to the Hondo Rodeo, which is where the Diamondbacks play in Arizona.
Right
We'll
on.
go to a big 3-day rodeo, November 7th, 8th, and 9th at the Hondo. And that's like a good little like NFR preview. Like it's only 8 ropers, invites only, but it's the 8 best guys in the world in a similar setup situation against worth some big money. Like it was only 3 days last year, and I won it and won 35,000.
Dang.
So it's a good little
That's
little
a
test.
plane ticket.
Yeah, no shit. That's a good way to think about it. So no, it's a good little tester before the Thomas and Mack, and then after that, I'd say when you get back from the Hondo, we'll put on our big gold buckle fraternity, our finals, November 12th through the 15th in Abilene, and then after that, you have 15 days to really buckle down and be focused on the national finals.
Mm-hmm. And then where I saw you, met you last year was the Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway.
Yep.
What is it that they added for you
So
guys in there?
They have an open tie down, and it's on the way out there, and it's kind of a similar deal. You're driving pretty much through there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Stop in there, get some good reps behind the barrier on your horses that you've been getting ready for the finals. And so yeah, that's where I met you, and I seen you up in the stands, and then I of course put 2 and 2 together with Combs, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna go shake your hand, introduce me,
Yeah.
because I've been watching you guys for a while.
Yeah. So glad you did, man. So glad. As I often do, I've been doing interviews, I think, all day, and
Yeah,
I've said it before, I identify as an introvert, and I was like by myself sitting there, but
sitting there, yeah.
yeah, it was truly a pleasure to
Yeah.
shake your hand and put a face with a name in person. Describe the feeling, man. Like you walk into the Thomas and Mack for the very first time in what, 2010?
Yep.
That's my math right? 2010. Describe that feeling.
Yeah, it'll be something that I'll never forget. It's I mean, walking into the Super Bowl, you know what I mean, of our occupation. I mean, you go to a lot of great rodeos and great venues, but there's just something about Thomas and Mack and the lights being brighter than anywhere else, and the yellow buck and shoots, the yellow rope and shoots is something that, like, for me, like being a student of the game, that I've watched so much, on TV growing up, and then to get to actually compete there, probably almost like a out of body type experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You never really thought you were gonna get there, and then you got there, and then I did well my first year. Won around 1/3 in the average. At that time, I won 80,000 in 10 days, which that was kind of like we say the old money before Vegas got a new contract, or before the NFR got a new contract with Vegas. So I would say, like, if I did what I did in 2010, if I did that in 2025, I would probably win over 200.
Hey,
How it's kind of changed with the money, and so
do you have an idea of what you need? And I know anything can happen there, and anything can change, but do you have any idea of what you need to win another buckle, to win the
Yeah.
world?
honestly, that's one thing about me is I'm a realist. Like, I understand the situations, and I understand what. So, like, when you asked earlier, like, my goal for the NFR immediately is 200,000. If I can win 200,000 in 10 days, I would consider that a great success. The bad thing is I'm 180,000 behind Riley going into the NFR, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I rodeoed with him mostly all the summer, and that kid is just wired different.
We're talking about Riley Webb.
Riley Webb, and he's won the last 2 gold buckles. He's made the NFR the last 3 years, but he's just on a different playing field that everybody else is, in my opinion. Now, mathematically, there's still a lot of guys that can get him.
What do you think that is? What do you think it's when you say he's different, on a different playing field? What sets him
I
apart?
think
Really?
I think he's finally proved himself last year at the NFR that, the first year he won the world, he went in with a big lead, and he was just spinning all of us off. Last year, he really didn't get talked about a lot. He was going in maybe 4th. and he won everything but the shoot gates at the NFR and won the world. And so as like now he's got the confidence on that horse of Thomas and Mack. And yeah, he's a great roper, and he's maybe the fastest I've ever seen. But just the confidence that Riley has in that place, and the way he ropes, he's gonna be hard to beat. And so I'm like I said, I'm part of the 15 guys that's going there, but I'm aware I'm not gonna waste my energy on something that's probably out of realistic expectations, right? So, but what I can do is I can win 200,000. I can win more than one round at the NFR, and that would be a very successful year, especially since winning the American this year and the futurity success I've had this year would make a great year.
Mm-hmm. If we go back to like I'm always curious to know when did you, at the beginning of your career, like when did you buy into the belief that, yes, I'm good enough to do this
Yeah,
for
it's
a living?
funny. I was listening to Kenny's episode on the way over here, and he said when he won 7th at the futurity that year, which was crazy because it's kind of similar for me. So 2010, what's really crazy is at the Will Rogers, where our big Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo was before Dickies Arena. Fort Worth was a huge rodeo to start the year off. 200 and something competitors. If you won it, you won 15 something thousand. And Fort Worth has been at this time was kind of a drawing game because of the cattle, but really a small roper wasn't going to be able to win that rodeo because of kind of technical, integral stuff of the calves were sitting there. It's that rodeo was a month long. The calves sit there all month on full feed. So by the time the end of the rodeo comes, they're so big, you can't really do much about them as for a little guy. But anyway, so to answer your question, I won Fort Worth that year in 2010. I won 15,000. I'll never forget. It was the day the Saints won the Super Bowl too.
I'm assuming you're a Saints fan.
Well,
LSU fan.
right now, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, an LSU fan, Saints fan. So anyways, when the Saints won the Super Bowl and I won Fort Worth that night, I didn't think there was ever going to be another poor day. And so I just knew, not really to answer your question, that's when I knew, like, of course, it was on Riata, and I had just won the biggest building rodeo of the year. And I told myself, man, you could make it this year, and that's a big jump early on in the year when you get 15, 20,000. And so all winter, it was just kind of like that. I won good at San Antonio, won good at Houston. After Houston, that's kind of the end of the buildings for our season. I had like 54,000 at that point. And like this is when 70,000 makes the NFR. So you have March, April, May, June, July, August, September. You got 7 months to win 20,000. I mean, I liked my chances to make the NFR, right? And so, and then I made it in top 5 that year. But yeah, winning Fort Worth was definitely the part that said, okay, you compete with the best guys in the world and you can beat the best guys in the world.
Mm-hmm. Were you already committed to rodeo as a profession, or was there any question mark in your brain of like,
well, I didn't know what else I was going to do if it didn't work out at that time.
So no backup plan.
Yeah, there was no backup plan. I knew I had that horse. I knew he was once in a lifetime, and I had him, for 6 years, probably by the end 5 years. And I knew it was just the fact of me just doing my job and letting him shine. And we hadn't looked back since.
What do you have a favorite failure throughout your career?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. 2021, I went in season leader, and I won the world title in 2013. And the saying's so true that one's not enough, And so
yeah, more is more.
Yeah, every year I'd try to figure out how to make the finals, or how to win a world title, how to make the finals. And so I really felt like I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. 2019, NFR was on Bam Bam. I won more than I probably ever won at the NFR. And the 10th go round, I knew if I won the round, I was going to win the world. And that's stuff that you dream about, right? When you're a kid, you're roping the dummy, telling the dummy, 10th go round, got to win the round to win the world. And your back's against the wall. And so 7-1 was winning the round. And I was the very last roper. I knew 7 Flat was going to win me another gold buckle. And the calf I had, I knew I could do it on. anyways, long story short, threw my hands up, was 7-1, tied for the round win. But at the time, I thought, man, maybe splitting the round was still enough. Lost it by like $2,000.
Dang.
And so I was just like, and I don't know, I thought I was faster than 7-1. When I threw my hands up, I thought I was 6. But anyways, long story short, 7-1. So essentially a tenth of a second from winning the world title, right? So fast forward to 2020, and we're at Globe Life, during the COVID for the NFR. And 10th go round, I'm winning the average and have an outside shot at a gold buckle. I shouldn't say outside, a very realistic shot at a gold buckle. And I remember not back in there, but before going, I was winning the average by quite a ways, and it paid 80 grand. And I'd already won 100 and something thousand leading up to that. And so I was like, what do you rope for a living, or you rope for a gold buckle? And I remember telling myself I rope for a living. And I regret that so much, because 10th go round, I back in there, I'm 8 flat. Put 2 wraps on the calf. Calf was great. Put 2 wraps, won the average. If I'm 7-9, I win the world. So 2 years in a row, 1/10 of a second, cost me 2 gold buckles. And I'm grateful for what I've accomplished, and winning the average and for the second year was awesome. But 2021, I went in season leader. I was going in with the lead. I was riding the horse that I just rode at. I just won the American on in 2021. I rode him at the NFR in 2020.
Which horse was it?
It was a gray horse named TJ.
TJ.
That belonged to one of my good friends, Logan Bird. 10 or 12 days before the NFR, I'm just practicing on him at the house, and he has a heart attack and falls over, and I'm on top of him, and he pins me down, and I tear some ligaments in my ankle, crack some ribs, but obviously the worst news was he passed away. So 12 days before the NFR, I'm going in number 1, and I had been rolling all season. The thought for sure this was going to be the year I get another gold buckle. And when the horse went down, I remember like just losing all my like desire to even rope. And I was, 10 days from the biggest rodeo in the world. People dream about going to the NFR, and I didn't even really care. I was going in number 1 even, season leader, and that's a bonus in itself. But didn't know what I was going to ride. Logan had another horse named Peso, and he was young, but he was a pretty good horse, 6 years old. So in them 12 days, I was kind of limping around trying horses that I thought would fit me at the NFR. Nothing really fit me. And I finally remember calling Logan and said, hey, I want to ride Peso, which was his other horse. I said, I think it's just God telling me that this is the plan for us. And he was like, all right. So he drove from Regina, Saskatchewan, from their circuit finals for 2 days straight to get to the NFR. First go around, I win the round. Dude, I'm telling you, the coolest moment, the coolest feeling, maybe second to a gold buckle ever. Just all that we had all been through them last couple weeks, and win the first round. And I'm like, this is awesome, man. This is what it's about. This is a script being written. Nobody could even think about writing that script. And so the next few rounds were just kind of mediocre, just kind of got by. And then fast forward to the 10th go round, and I knew if I placed in the round and held my spot in the average, that I would win the world. And I remember coming across there roping, and same thing I did at San Bernardino, actually figure eight the back leg, and pulled my knife out, cut the rope. I don't even know, I might have been like 21 seconds, but obviously didn't win the world. And I always just remember like that was probably the biggest letdown of my career, just because we had been through so much leading up to that NFR, and then winning the first round, being at the top of the mountain, the highest of the highs, and then the 10th round that year just being completely deflated. So it was the toughest year, probably. 2021 was, because during the year was awesome, winning the American and setting the single season earnings record that's been broken since, and then just kind of crashing down in the 10th round. So yeah, that was a bit of a letdown, but didn't bag me down then. I was raring to go the next year.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. When you get back home and the smoke settles, like what's the lesson learned through that?
The biggest lesson to me, honestly, that year was figuring out that roping and making NFR was kind of what I did. It wasn't who I was, as a person. And that's kind of when I found out that it's cool to win everything that I've won. I've been so grateful. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It matters kind of how of a person you are and who you are as a person and your morals and how you treat people and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of people on that ride with me that I'm so thankful that they were, because it was a roller coaster of emotions for sure.
Yeah. Competing at the level that you're at, 16 consecutive NFR trips, world title, won the American. How do you continue to improve?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really think just watching the guys that I'm competing against and kind of seeing, because that's how I modeled my game before I got to where I was there was a lot of things that I watched other guys do that I tried to model. Like I loved the way Cody O handled his rope and his string. Obviously, I'm not built like Cody O, so I had to go and see, okay, Brent Lewis, Trevor Brazile, Ricky Canton, how them guys flanked. Sean McMullen, how he tied his tie position, Clay Cherney, his tie position. So I had to model all this stuff and make it into me, in a sense, And so now I'm doing the same thing, essentially. I'm watching these cats that are younger than me, figuring out how to shave off, anywhere from 1/10 to 7/10, because now going to the NFR before the first 10 years I made the NFR, 7.5 to 7.6, you're winning first, second, or third in the day money. 7.5 or 7.6 now would maybe win sixth or seventh in the day money. So there's a big difference between 7.1 and 7.6, and I have to figure out how.
How'd it get faster?
A couple of different things. Smaller calves is probably the immediate answer. But another answer that I think people don't understand is these kids now that are at the finals, growing up, they've had a bunch of these junior opens, that Chris Neal's put on, that, Barry Burke junior open, like all these junior opens that they could go to quite a bit. Joe Beaver, that is an NFR setup that these guys got a lot of confidence in. So after they get over the bright lights of Vegas and the NFR, and they figure out that it's just the same setup they've been doing since they were in the 10 and under, it clicks to them very fast. And so I think that's probably a main reason why 7.6 to 7.7 is still a great round. Thomas Mack ain't getting no victory laps anymore.
That's interesting. Do you get to like run any calves in there before it starts?
Yeah, so the NFR starts on the first Thursday in December. So the Monday before that, we get to pretty much pick our calves. We have 75 calves there, and we essentially get to pick 60 of them 75 that can be in a draw for us. And so on Monday, we get to go through them all. We don't get to actual rope and tie them off a horse, but we tie them from the chute, and then we break away them off a horse to kind of see their patterns and see their tendencies on the ground. And then the first 3 mornings, actually, Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, we get to get in there and we tie the pin that's in that night's pin. So we tie a Thursday morning's pin that we're going to rope Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday night, so on.
And when you say you tie, again, I'm ignorant. Y'all rope and tie? Or?
So they put the rope on the chute. They tie it off to the chute. They let a calf out. We go down there flanking.
I see.
Pretty much.
You're just a foot.
Yeah, just a foot. Just to pretty much, so the calves aren't kicking or striking anything for their performance that night. And obviously,
and also let y'all learn.
Let's just learn the calves, and then they bring them back up, and then we're on our horses, and then we get to rope them, and then we rope them. The rope breaks off, so we're not jerking them or nothing. We can tie. We don't tie them or nothing. So, gives you an idea of their speed, their pattern, and how they are on the ground. So it gives you a little bit of an idea.
Right on.
And then so the first 3 days we do that, and then when 4th day starts, we rope the round 1 calves. So we call that reruns. So we know, if Shad run my calf in the first round, I can go watch him, see what he did with Shad, and kind of so on and so forth. So we'll rope the calves in the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th round. So that'll be the only pin that actually goes 4 times. And then so we'll rope the 2nd, 5th, and 8th rounds for pin 2, and then pin 3 is the other 3 rounds. 3, 6, and 9.
Right on.
So it's a little different, but.
Ever any arguments on
every
on
time.
it.
Yeah.
How do those get settled?
Yeah, well, I mean, votes. Luckily, there's 15 guys there, so
Oh,
it'd be an even
there's-
vote.
yeah.
But there's guys that want to run bigger, stronger calves. There's guys that want to run smaller calves. I mean, it is what it is. I've had this big false representation of me that I like small calves, but really at the end of the day, run them in there for me. I like them big. I mean, I've won Cheyenne. I've won plenty of rodeos that they rode big calves at. So I'm not afraid of them by no means.
Right on. How do you stay healthy? It's a
Yeah.
timed event. It's not rough stock,
Yeah.
but it's still, I would think, hard
Well,
on your body.
And like you said, when you ask how many times like do I throw a rope a day, I mean we're all throwing our rope that much. So there's a lot of shoulders and there's a lot of knees, obviously from getting off, and then more lately is hips too, from tying and stuff like that. So I've been very fortunate and lucky to and I think that's one of the main reasons I've been able to make it 16 years in a row. Is a lot of guys probably could have made it 16 years in a row off their talent, but they haven't been able to stay healthy enough. And so I've been very, very fortunate to be healthy enough to make these finals 16 in a row. So I also think that I don't just run off my horse crazy speed, like just fast and out of control. I try to tend to think that I'm in control of my runs, and so that I'm not taking many bad hits. I mean, there's a couple times I've rolled an ankle or, tore some ligaments or sprained an ankle, but as far as like big injuries, I think it's mainly because of the control that I've always tried to be in and the horses I've rode.
Mm-hmm. I got into this horse thing and then in the team roping on a very amateur level, but I have been to one rodeo, and I
Really?
think I told everybody out there that this is my first rodeo.
Nice.
That's the whole
Where
thing.
was it?
Ruston, Louisiana.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah,
been there. High
yeah.
school rodeos all the time.
Ruston, Louisiana.
Covered arena there.
Yeah, yep. But yeah, I remember seeing these calf ropers getting all their shit ready and all the
Jerk
just the
lines.
shit you gotta do, man. It's a lot to outside looking in. I'm sure this is all second nature, and it's like
No, it's
tying your shoes, but
yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and then that's kind of like on our level. Like, I mean, for me, like for the NFR, like what I'm starting to do now is I'm going through all my ropes and I'm trying to figure out which ropes I like best. As far as like, because the summertime it really doesn't matter. The arenas are big. You're not really trying to rope them fast, but like going to the Thomas and Mack, like I want a lighter, more sleeker kind of feel rope, and I've also kind of want one that I know the length. Because our lengths are different, and then same with strings, and then now, like you said, like for us, like it's the jerk lines, the neck ropes, the saddles, the pads, everything that it's kind of a crazy mindset thing, but I wouldn't think it's any different in the cutting world neither. Them guys want their best stuff for the futurity and the saddles that
oh yeah,
they're more comfortable with,
Mhm.
and their bits, I mean, I know the bits is same thing for us, or for our horses that we're riding out there. So it's a lot of stuff that, like you said, people from the outside don't understand what we put into, but it's crazy.
Yeah. I just saw the what is the rope?
The jerk line.
Jerk line, yeah, yeah. It just seemed like a lot, man.
It's like an insurance policy. I tell people, like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, because it's tied to the bit hobble is what it's tied to. And so it's on a pulley system. So it feeds through your pulleys and then into your belt. And then the tighter you put your belt, the more pull you're going to get out of your horse, because it's going to be pulling on the bit, right? So, but really, these horses are trained to pull no matter what. They just, over time, over repetition, they kind of get a little dull to it,
Shoot
right?
you a little bit.
Yeah, and so you put a jerk line on, and it's like insurance on your truck, like you're going to have it no matter what. And so some horses need more jerk line than others. Some don't need, like my little backup horse I'm going to take out there. He's as smooth as a cat, and he's been a futurity standout. He's a 6-year-old this year, so he's still at the futurities, but we've won well over 250,000 on him just at the futurities. But he's as smooth as a cat. Out of America, actually, Dustin and Dina Adams raised him out of a mare called Credence Clearwater.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I've got him. I own him, and I've never rode a jerk line on him, never. And I've rode him at the biggest rodeos, and he don't need one. He's just spooky enough to where when you tie your tie down rope on, he knows his job. And I mean, he's only 6. I'm not saying by 12 years old that he's not going to have a jerk line, but he's one of the very few that's going to go to the NFR that you don't need to ride a jerk line.
How long is the jerk line?
It depends on how much pull you need from your horse. But I remember Cody Old rode a jerk line on Pearl that it would literally,
Like, can it follow you all the way to the calf?
yes, all the way to the calf, and then it'd pop out, and then you could flank them. I mean, it's crazy. And then some, like a lot of jerk lines I ride on my young horses, they're only probably 8 foot long. Like, I won't even get 2 steps past my horse, and it'll be done pulling. Just kind of
So you change the length
yeah, change the length,
depending on the horse.
thickness of it. Yeah, depending on the horse.
Right on. I'm learning.
Yes, sir.
It's very nuanced.
Just the same. It's same thing with the bits,
Yeah.
as far
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Personal preference.
Exactly.
What feels good to you.
what feels good, what the horse likes,
Yeah.
what he don't like, stuff like that.
Right on.
Tie downs are the same thing. They don't ride tie downs on the cutters, but tie downs are a big thing for us, like the nose bands. You got the hard rawhide, you got the leather, you got the rope with the leather laced over it. It just depends on the horse,
Yeah. A little fun fact. I saw that you're left-handed.
Yeah.
Was that an issue with you learning to rope right-handed?
Yeah, I guess when I was a kid, 6, 7 years old, I'd rope the dummy with my brother left-handed, and he would swap me over every time. And I remember watching the NFR. There was one guy that I watched. His name was James Ann. He's a close friend of mine today. Seen him yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he made the NFR left-handed. There's only been 5 guys to ever make the NFR left-handed. So my brother always told me that if I ever was going to rope for a living, left-handed wasn't going to work. And so he'd taught me to right. And so, yeah, I still eat and write left-handed, but do rope and throw the ball right-handed and stuff.
Would they jump off on the left side?
Yeah, so what the biggest thing is, it's just a disadvantage as far as the calves, because the calves aren't used to left-handers tying them, flanking them on the side, tying them. So it's just pretty unfair. Just because, just like the NFR, for example, we go and tie those calves. Ain't nobody flanking and tying them calves left-handed. You know what I mean? But you got one guy that's left-handed, and it's like, man, what are you supposed to do? It's just unfair. It kind of sucks. But it does matter. I mean, you can see a calf go at a rodeo that is awesome with a guy right-handed, and then that left-handed guy gets him the next run and he kicks. Crazy.
Nearly $3 million lifetime earnings you have. What's some of the best advice you've gotten throughout your career?
The best advice I've gotten was from Barry Burke. He was
And who is that?
he's a Hall of Fame tie down roper. He passed away a couple of years ago. His son made the NFR 14 times. His name is Blair Burke. He helps me quite a bit still to this day. But Barry always told me to not let the highs get too high or the lows too low. And it's so crazy because rodeoing, you have to learn how to lose, right? Like, just the odds, the numbers. You're not going to win every time, right? And so learn how to handle your losses to be ready for the wins, for me, is like the most pivotal thing about a mental game to rodeo, because and this summer I was guilty of it a lot. I thought this summer I ran a lot of good calves and didn't take advantage of them because I was still so upset and so mad about losing from the run before that. So, I just felt like this was the first summer that I really didn't take advantage of a lot of good calves that I drew. And I think it's solely because I was still mad about the run before and why I didn't win on that calf and I wasn't ready for the next one. And yeah, I mean, that's just that piece of advice. I felt like up until this summer, I'd kind of used it and took advantage of it. But I kind of because of the pressure and the stress of making it or not making it, was there. I think I just wasn't ready to win.
I'm going to flip it now. What's some of the worst advice you've gotten?
Don't change anything. No, there for so long after I won the world, all everybody wanted to do was pat me on the back and say how awesome I was. And really, at the end of the day, I needed the opposite, because I needed to get my butt in gear to win more gold buckles instead of just being okay with having won, I mean, that year at the NFR was so storybook, that setting the average record on 10 at that time and then winning a world title. And then I set the money earnings record in the Calf Open, which got broke obviously when they went to the new money. But there was too many times where I just come from where I come from, nobody's hardly accomplished much at all. And so winning that was like, everybody thought that was all I wanted. And I was like, man, I just had too many people pat me on the back instead of saying, hey, let's figure out what you're going to do. after this, so that's probably the biggest thing.
Right on. Man, you seem, from what little I know, just hearing you talk, you seem very business minded. Have this entrepreneurial spirit with futurity jackpot you were doing in high school. I read somewhere, I saw in an interview, you have a food truck.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I think so. Mainly, when you kind of asked if I had a plan B, in 2010, if I didn't make it, I've just seen so many guys be successful to an extent inside the arena, and then after it's all over, not have anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very, very worried about that. Then I wanted to have something when I was done. And so I started thinking about stuff like that when I was a kid. And I always liked the thought of running my own business and stuff like that. And so I actually started in 2016, I started up a deal called really a media platform called the Cowboy Journal. And what it was like kind of like the Players Tribune, but for rodeo cowboys. And so it was like a ghostwriter talking to these cowboys about what they've been through, ups and downs and stuff like that. And it took off. We won the media award for the PRCA for Journalism of the Year.
Right on,
And it took off.
What'd you do? You just hired a ghostwriter to interview these people?
I knew all the stories and I just, from being in the rodeo world, and so I knew all the stuff, or a lot of stuff. I knew content was never going to be a problem, right?
Right.
Probably similar for yours. I knew that if people understood what we go through, not just the cap ropers, but the bronc riders, the bull riders, the bear ruck riders, like the bulldoggers, like if they understood what we go through day to day, year to year, week to week, that they would fall in love with the game, And so yeah, I hired a ghostwriter, hired a photographer, pretty much a CEO that would get things running, and it was awesome. Like you can go, I still have the social media channels alive because you can go back and read the stories and see the comments and the shares and how viral that went. But
how did you monetize it?
So that was the tricky part. That's why I had to shut it down. I got sponsors to run the stories, but it just ended up being my personal sponsors, that would sponsor Shane Hanchey, the roper, and then I would also come to him. And although it did do great for him, I just got to where I was like, man, I hate kind of barking up the same tree, And this was, like I said, before really like podcasts took off. But now, we had talked about firing it back up and kind of going the podcast route or the video media route. But it just got too hard to manage it, to fund it. Because my ghostwriter, he was great. He was in Virginia. But
how'd you find him?
So kind of a friend of a friend. He had worked for Yeti. He did some articles for Yeti, and I just pretty much cold called him up and asked him if he had ever been introduced to rodeo, and he'd never known anything about rodeo. So he dove right in, and man, he was so awesome. He made it sound like it was just that person that was doing the interview. It was amazing, and I learned a lot from that business venture. And then I moved to Texas in 2018, and I knew that there was no place to get good boiled crawfish around where I
Tell me about it, dude.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna open a mobile food truck, and so that's what I do. Crawfish season's kind of perfect time of year for me. I usually wait till the end of February, beginning of March, where they're big enough to, get washed and stuff. And so luckily, it wouldn't be possible if I didn't have this family friend that's into the crawfish business. It's called Acadia Crawfish in Crowley, Louisiana, and they're the biggest distributors. I mean, they're just the middlemen, but they're the crawfish needle.
Right on.
And so they have a lot of contracts for HEBs and stuff around me. And so every week I meet them. I pick up my crawfish. I pick up my seasoning. I pick up my corn, potatoes, my sausages, my shrimp from them. And we cook. And, it's been crazy to think, but we go to Teskey's every year. We cater there, and we're so busy during crawfish season. It's so awesome, though, dude. It's a change of pace, right? You're not waking up, roping, going through that routine. You're waking up and picking up crawfish and boiling it. The easiest part of the whole deal is putting the crawfish in the pot.
Yeah.
By far. You know how it is.
So is it you running it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, it's me and my wife. There's a lot of cash flow in there, but we have some great people that help us with it,
That's cool.
And it started off just kind of a deal, just when we can, and now it's gotten
There's a demand for it.
Oh yeah, and so we drive anywhere, now that they put two and two, because I didn't name it after me. I named it after my wife's barrel horse that she made the NFR on. It's called Bo's Bowling Go, because I thought initially I thought, like, I want people to eat my crawfish because it's good. I don't want them to eat it because it's Shane Hanchey's crawfish.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
now, if I probably wish I would have tied my name into it a little bit, but now people still, you know, uh, figured out that it's me, and so I've been to all the way up to Tulsa. I've been everywhere with the food trailer and bowling crawfish for people.
That's cool, man. I'm from Monroe,
Yep.
and I have to distinguish people that are not. You get it. You're from Louisiana. People not from Louisiana. I tell them I'm from Louisiana. They automatically think New Orleans,
Every time.
but I'm like, no. The state is divided. Alexandria north is like completely different. Food, the people, the accents, the terrain. Where you're at, the accents are stronger. That's what people think of, I think, when they think Louisiana. The food is much better down there. Do you cook anything else
So yeah,
other than
we do an etouffee and we do a chicken and sausage gumbo, just because not everybody loves boiled crawfish. It's kind of a chore to eat either. But I also do boiled shrimp, and the boiled shrimp people die for it. They love them. They come from all over to get boiled shrimp, and it's easy peel. They're deveined already. They're headless, so it's easy peel. We have some dat dip, which is like our remoulade sauce. That's our house sauce.
what do you call it?
It's called dat dip.
Dat dip.
DFT.
Right on.
Yeah. And then we have a garlic butter, which garlic butter is like a Texas thing. People eat crawfish with garlic butter in Texas.
Oh,
It's weird to me, but
yeah.
but yeah, it's popular too. And so yeah, we offer them 5 deals at our food truck. So it's mostly crawfish people, but some people come to eat the etouffee and gumbo too.
Yeah.
Never hurts to have a good plate of crawfish etouffee every now and then.
No, man. Yeah. About this time of year, once it starts cooling off, man, I'll hit that up or a good gumbo.
Where do you get your Cajun stuff around here?
It's when I go back home.
You go back home?
Yeah.
Back quite a bit?
Yeah, my business is there, and I was like every other week I'd be here, there, so much so that I got my pilot's license and bought a plane, and I just fly back now. I got a Cirrus.
Oh, nice.
SR22, and
How long does it take you?
about an hour and a half.
Nice.
Yeah, if the wind between an hour and a half and 2 hours, depending on the wind.
Nice.
But it beats the hell out of a 6-hour drive, and
Yeah.
I'm almost traffic, and I'm almost guaranteed a speeding ticket both ways.
No doubt.
So there are no speeding tickets in the sky.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
But now I don't go. I'm maybe once every other month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. My brother is also my business partner, and he runs a lot of the day-to-day back home, and so yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Which I guess that's what got me into it's real estate investing is what I do, and so I was selling pharmaceuticals, and I saw a bunch of friends getting laid off. I've been through layoffs, and I'm like, man, what can I do to make money and not have to be there to oversee it and do it? And so just kind of built it, and so that's how I'm able to not be there and do the thing, Let's see, I got a couple more for you. I'm gonna call my buddy back. See if we can get him on the line because I know he's gonna have something good here.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy, what you doing?
Man, just watching some cows. What do you up to?
I got you on the spot, dude. You're in the interview now. The Louis Vuitton Vaquero, everybody.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude.
Long time listener, first time caller.
I didn't tell you I was going to be calling you, but I wanted to, off the cuff, what do you got from my guy, Shane Hanchey here?
Hey guys, I might have to let you go. We're about to do the thing.
I got you, buddy. Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for having me on.
See ya.
Long time listener, first time caller. That's him to a T.
Yeah, dude. He never fails, man. He's going to deliver.
That's awesome.
Some humor and just a good vibe.
Yeah, always. That's what I got from the first episode I listened to of y'all's was him, and just his his vibes, man, like it was through the roof, like positive and
Mm-hmm.
always laughing. Seems like a great guy to be around. Just
He is, and when I first started hanging around, like he's like, yeah, dude, come hang out, turn back, practice, whatever. And it was during the futurity, which is like their Super Bowl, which would be like y'all's NFR. And he's like, I know it's a futurity, doesn't matter, like come hang out, be like, and
and this is when he was with Rock and P.
yeah, exactly. He was with Rock and P at this time, and he could have a terrible show, and yeah, he's gonna vent and get mad and do the thing. He'll show up with a smile the next day, and he calls it his bounce back statistic, but his shit's gonna not go good. And like how golfers talk about the same thing, like how quick can you recover? How short of a memory can you have?
That's what I've always told people is, a bunch of people have always asked me, how do you, what do you do about your mind? And I just said, well, when things are going good, have a long-term memory. When things are going bad,
Yeah.
short-term memory. And so, yeah, it's so similar because of us, like, probably the ups and downs of rodeo, and like, it really matters what kind of attitude you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've been working on that myself because I'm a very bad loser, but growing older, it seems like you get a little wiser in your years anyway. But yeah, it's crazy.
I forget the quote who said it, but it says failure is not a bad thing as long as you don't make it a habit.
Yeah,
When I let that sit, it's like, oh yeah,
that's nice. Yeah, you learn from it.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, what do you think about rolling into some rapid fire
Yeah,
questions, buddy?
Ready?
What is your favorite Western movie?
Tombstone.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
That is a good one. If you go into a steakhouse, how do you get your steak cooked?
Medium. I'm a filet guy too.
You like filet?
Medium, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this a minute ago when you were talking about the crawfish thing. I was drug repping and talking to a doctor, and he asked, what's your favorite food? And I said, boiled crawfish. Still is today. And he like looked down on me, or like that wasn't a satisfactory answer. I'm
Really?
like, nah, fuck you, man. Like it's good. It's good
Yeah,
stuff.
never
I don't think he's from Louisiana either.
Couldn't have been.
Yeah. If you could go to any time period for 1 week, when and where do you go?
Easy. Jesus. I think that would be so cool to be around him and follow him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest answer. We read so much about him and that how perfect he was, but giving and caring. But I just would have liked to have seen like what made him tick, like the intricacies of why he got up in the morning. And
Last guest I had on said the same answer.
Really?
Yeah.
that's great.
Bo Simmons, I think that was his
Really?
answer. Yeah. What is the buckle you wear?
This is a 2013 World Champion tie
Just-
down roper. It's a gold buckle.
Just a little old gold champion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Championship world.
I wear it. I don't wear it like day to day. I wear it big rodeos and like come do stuff like this. But the other days, like during the like practice days, like it's my Pendleton Roundup buckle.
Oh, really?
The rodeo on the grass. Yeah, it's my favorite regular season rodeo of the year by far. And
Will you wear that at the NFR?
I'll wear this at the NFR.
Just a little reminder.
Yeah, just look down on it and get you a little confidence.
Yeah. That's why I talked to Matt Gaines, the legend in the cutting horse world, talks about like if he's struggling or in a slump, he'll go back and watch his old runs that
Yeah, same here.
were good.
Mm-hmm. I was doing that so much the last 2 weeks of the regular season.
Really?
Yeah. So the year last year at Sioux Falls, I won the second round. I was 7-1. And I just remember leading up to Sioux Falls, I'm like, I could just be 7-1 one time again at Sioux Falls. I would, make the NFR. And so I was watching that run because it was the same horse that I was riding, same situation, same arena. And so I was replaying that second round run on my phone. Shoot, I probably watched it 40 times.
Really?
The drive to Sioux Falls, yeah, it was. But I mean, I think that's a big mental thing. Like if you can visualize your run, and then obviously if you can have some sort of confidence that you've done that run before, if you can see it, I think it makes it easier in the moment.
Right, 100%. So yeah, it's like combining both. Like you're
Yeah.
visualizing, but you're also seeing it, and you have experienced it
Yeah,
in real life.
You've done it before.
Yeah. Do you do any type of visualizations or mindfulness practices day to day?
I don't. I probably need to. The only thing visualization wise that I do is the most important thing for us in a run is the start, like with the barrier, right? So whatever rodeo I'm at, because it varies. The barrier's not the same at every rodeo. So whatever rodeo I'm at, I watch the start and I visualize, when I nod, when I need to be going. Because after that, to me, repetition takes over and what you've practiced for. And so where like I really like everything, like when I'm really zoned in and roping good, it feels like everything's in slow motion.
Right.
And so if I can visualize the start of my run, the barrier, reading it, getting as close as I can to that, after that, repetition and that takes over my runs. And I don't even feel like I'm part of it, as weird as that is to say.
Everything just kind of falls into
Yeah,
place.
but when you're struggling and you miss the barrier, and then all of a sudden your internal clock is going and you feel so far behind going down the arena to where the other guys are going, that's when it makes it a little bit difficult for you to trust the process, trust your preparation,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The internal clock is a crazy thing. I don't know if it's in the cutting any with the clock on there, because you when the guys try to be patient and obviously get the right cow, but for us, like, having to make up time is hard. I mean, like finding spots in the run where you're supposed to make up those 3/10 from you missing the barrier. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I guess the difference is because it's a timed event versus, I guess, cutting would be more of a time management event,
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, you're managing working time. And do you ever see yourself getting off into some of that, into the cutting world?
I would love to. That's one of my biggest regrets. It's having my uncle there across the street. His daughters cut. They still cut to this day. I thought I was almost like, it wasn't like I wanted to perfect my craft for open. It was like I didn't have time. And I was almost like too good for that. But really, it's crazy how the world is, because now, like, on the way up here, I was watching videos of Kenny Platt, in 2016 at the Super Stakes on that, as he's got a player horse and stuff like that. Because I mean, I would have never thought I would ever been watching that before. And then obviously watching Kenny ride Arabi. Is that it?
I don't know how you pronounce it. Arabi, I've
Oh.
heard it pronounced, but I don't know.
What's
But
crazy was me and Haven was literally, because that's during the NFR for us, the fraternity.
Haven Medget.
Yeah. So the fraternity finals was going on right before we go in for the grand entry. And so we're watching the fraternity finals. We're the only two guys at the NFR that he throws the fraternity finals up on. But we're watching the fraternity finals, and when he loses that cow, I remember, just because, that's at a stylish place.
Yeah,
So,
Stevie at a stylish
and
place.
so when he lost that cow with 2 seconds left, I'm like, I don't know much about it, but I'm pretty sure Haven, he just lost that cow to win the fraternity. Like, I don't know much, but the run he was making, and we were both just like, I remember we were both just threw our head back, and I put my phone down, and then they're yelling at us to line up for the grand entry. And then, so we go through it, and then we come back and see, I think that Wes or Bo won it that year?
I think that would have been Lone Wolves. What year was that?
2 years ago.
Was it? Yeah, because Kenny won it last year. Lone Wolf won it the year before.
And so
It would be West Gallion, yeah.
And we seen that Wes won it. And so, but yeah, so long story short, like, I really wish that I would have did a lot more of that with my uncle, because he's like probably the guy I look up to the most. He's a most hardworking guy that I've ever seen. And I would like to get into that stuff, to answer your question. I wish I would have paid more attention when I was a kid to be able to transition. And at the high school finals, I remember Adon was there in the team roping and the cutting, We're the same age, and so he was roping with Austin Adams and the team roping at the high school finals, and then in the cutting, and just to watch his career skyrocket. And then, of course, I would say we're acquaintances. We know each other, and he was at the American this year when I won it, and so he congratulated me. But to see all his success, and then now you tie all that in with Jesse and all that, so it's pretty cool to follow that whole group of guys. But yeah, the cutting horse world has been a lasting impact on me, and probably will be for a long time.
We'll have to get you over there, dude. Come over there and just hang out and ride.
Yeah, I would love to. That'd be awesome.
It's a very humbling sport.
Yeah, it looks
very humbling.
Very much so.
Yeah. What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Man, I didn't watch many cartoons growing up, honestly. I never really paid attention to them. I never watched cartoons.
Really?
I couldn't even lie and tell you
Right
what my
on.
favorite one was.
Uh,
I did love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
you did?
Oh, man. Will Smith he was a man.
Were you Saved by the Bell guy?
Yeah, I watched Saved by the Bell quite a bit. Fresh Prince. I remember Fresh Prince would be on all night, like at Nick at Night. I'd watch Fresh Prince episodes all the time. He's a beast when it comes to acting, man. He was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the home screen on your phone?
Oh, my boy. Strand Jacob.
Right on. How old is he now?
Yeah, he's 16 months.
16 months.
He's
Already swinging rope?
best thing. Oh, he swings my phone charger because he thinks it's a rope.
Yeah.
So that's his version of a rope. But yeah, he'll swing our phone chargers, throw it on the dogs and stuff like that. Yeah, I've always said that he's going to be a professional golfer, but the way he watches us practice every day, I'm like, golly, there's no way he's going to play golf because he's just he will watch every move that we make, freaking tying or roping, and he's always riding horses always. So
Yeah.
maybe I can get him on one of those good cutting horses.
There you go.
Get him talked into that.
Cool, man. Last question. If you could put a message on a billboard, metaphorically speaking, to get it out to millions of people, what would your message say?
Yeah, I thought about this for a while. I knew you asked this question. There's a few different Bible verses, but I think I would go with the quote that I told myself probably the last 3 weeks of the regular season. I don't even remember who said it, but it's whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm. Who knows who said it? It's attributed to Henry Ford.
Okay.
Is who I've seen it attributed to. But again,
Yeah, but just to me, like, and that's what I was telling myself for 2 weeks. I'm like, you're not gonna make the NFR. You're gonna make the. You're not. And I was talking. No, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
yeah,
So why don't you think you can
yeah,
and speak this into existence? And
mm-hmm,
I'm telling you, that was some stressful moments. So to be able to lay on that, and then I thought about it. It goes through all walks of life, aspects of life, everything.
mm-hmm,
If you think you can, get that business up and going. Let's run that thing and
mm-hmm.
make it a $1 billion. Just all walks of life.
Yeah, it goes back to the visualizations we were just talking about, and then also going back. You brought up the Kenny Platt interview. He talks about it. I forget the question I asked, like, "What's your secret to success?" Because he's absolutely killing the game right now, and he's just like, "Yeah, I just go into it with the mindset that I'm going to do good." Like, it's simple as that.
Yeah, pretty simple. Yeah, it's crazy that he's not as into reading cattle as the other guys and stuff like that. And he just, like he was saying that it was, analysis by paralysis or whatever he said. And I got thinking about that because I'm the opposite. When I see a roping calf go, because we'll generally rope them for the next 4 to 8 weeks, right? If we see one on the road, a herd, we'll kind of jump around rodeo to rodeo. I see a roping calf go one time, I can tell you what that thing's gonna do until it's done being a roping calf. Like, I've just had that memory, that kind of like,
Man, I envy that so much.
yeah, like I do think I do think I would like that about the cutting, like to
Yeah.
read cattle, because I feel like I can read calves. Like, I feel like I can walk up to a herd of calves, and if we haven't roped them, and you can say, okay, Shane, you got 57, and I look at him, I feel like I can tell you what he's gonna do and be right 80% of the time.
No shit.
Yeah.
And you're looking at what?
The first thing I'm looking if it's a heifer or steer.
Mm.
The second thing I'm looking is like the breed. Like if it's a Coriani, well, Corianis are gonna run. If it's a Holstein, the Holstein's gonna lope, not run. Or if it's a black body steer calf, I'm gonna know that being a steer and being a black body is gonna be pretty gentle generally. If they got a white tip tail, they're gonna be great. They got white feet, they're gonna be great. It's just different stuff. He's got a hump on his back, and he's got a lot of ear, and he's owl-headed. He's probably not gonna be very good for it. You know what I mean? So, just it's different stuff like that we've watched and
Yeah,
paid attention
decades
to.
of doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I remember the very first cutting. I think I've talked about it on here before. I was walking up through the herd. One of the first shows was in Fort Worth, and I think it was Casey Green helping me at that time, and James Payne, and they're telling me something about a headlight and then something about a dime, something, and I'm like, it's like this whole other language to identify these cattle ridge, yeah, razor or something, and I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
So
just
that's just how they
identify
would
'em.
explain like a black baldy or a red mod.
Yeah, because if it's a bunch of black, just a bunch of black cattle, like how do you identify? Yeah, so it'd
So
be
I
like,
guess we identify them with the ear tag, but they don't probably have ear tags that
well, or they all have the same ear tag, or
see.
yeah, so
that
that
makes sense. So you got to have kind of
yeah,
almost code words for the cow. That's crazy.
yeah. So I've wanted to do a podcast just on that,
That
like
would be awesome.
to define what's what. But I remember,
Just like when Kenny was saying, like talking about Lloyd going in there and mopping the floor, mopping it up. Like I never heard that before, but it makes sense if he's in the middle of the arena and he's just making his run. I mean, that's just kind of how you want
yeah,
how the direction of a mop go. That's crazy.
yeah,
That kind of, and it's so different in the rodeo world.
yeah. It's yeah. People want to even there were folks in a running group that I was in, and I would have like just gotten back from a cutting, and they're like, well, how was the rodeo? And like they have no idea. Within the Western industry, there's little buckets and compartments,
I just think it has to do with a cow and a horse, and you're going.
and you're wearing a hat and boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, cool, dude. I really appreciate your time. It's our most valuable asset.
Yes.
I wish you the best of luck out in Las Vegas
Appreciate it.
for your 16th NFR, man. That's super exciting.
Appreciate the time. I've always wanted to come on here. So
Yeah.
like Jesse said, long time listener, dumb visitor. So it's exciting.
Yes, sir. Alrighty, buddy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.